So hello everyone, how you doing? Welcome to the full moon in Aquarius. It's all makes sense secret code name readings. Now, there will be timestamps in the comments and the description after I'm done the live. So bear with and give me a few minutes once the live is wrapped up and I'll put them in there for you. The secret code names for this event are Panda Paws, a zebra's stripes, the Hamburglar, and the Post. Those are the 4 secret code names that I was given. And I thought it was interesting because they all have this kind of black and white synchronicity that threads between them. And I'm curious to see how these are going to come out, these reads. I'm using Symbolon, the Mystical Manga Tarot, and the Star Tarot for these messages. And I hope you guys resonate with them. Thank you to everybody who participates in these readings and gets your secret code name. If you're not familiar with the secret code names, guys, these are personal readings for people. They purchase them in my Etsy shop. And I give them a secret code name so they know which reading is theirs in relation to this moon. The beauty of it is anybody can resonate to the secret code names. The secret code names keep their personal reading private to them and allow other people to resonate. So if any of the secret code names resonate with you, because we are all connected here in this beautiful soul family, chances are there is a message in there for you. All right, so Panda Paws, a zebra stripes, the Hamburglar, and the Post. Those are the 4 secret code names, and we're going to get into it. Guys, my voice has been giving me issues all day, so if you hear me clear my throat or drinking in the background, I'm so sorry if that bothers your ASMR. Be patient with me as I'm being patient with my body. It is what it is at the moment. There's nothing I could do about that. All right, so starting with secret code name Panda Paws. Let's get the timestamp in here. All right. And it was so cute because when I got the secret code name for this, I saw the panda's face, but then he kind of pulled his paws up and covered his face, almost like a cat would, but he had his paws up, crossed over his face. And I was like, oh, so I was like trying to hide, but so cute about it. I couldn't with myself. So we're going to see what comes out if Panda Paws is your secret code name or you were guided to it. We're going to start with Symbolon. Try and get it to all make sense for you with whatever it is that you're going through right now. We're going to get some insight into it. Whatever message is meant to come through with the theme, I'm sure will make sense and be clear to you when it is meant to. All right. So Spirit, what is going on with secret code name Panda Paws that it's all making sense? What is it that is being made sense of? Or what sense are they making of it all? Right? How does it make sense? Whoa. Got a lot more cards than I anticipated, and Spirit's telling me to keep them. All right. Top and bottom of the deck. All right. Okay. We've got a few cards. So I feel like you might have had a relationship with someone. Now, this could be past that is relevant to what you're processing through now in your present. It could be a present situation. It could be something that you need to be aware of for your future. But I'm feeling as if There's a relationship dynamic that you had that was very visible. Like, people knew you two were together. And maybe there was a certain feeling of liking that other people were envious or jealous of the two of you, that they wish they had a relationship like you guys did. Because there was some kind of financial benefit that you both were reaping being together. Like, it could have definitely been a very financially stable connection where you both, you know, had or made good money and like finances were easy. Maybe you guys went out to eat and dates often or something, who knows. But there is some kind of relationship dynamic that you had, without being super specific. There's some kind of relationship dynamic that you had where other people were envious of the two of you. However, whoever this person was, they brought in a lot of weight, like baggage, and or they revealed to you the amount of weight you carried bringing it into the relationship. And maybe you're not as innocent as you thought now that the relationship dynamic's been released. And or they are not the villain, quote unquote, like you thought, because you're starting to see your own faults. I think that there's a part of you that wants to be in control and be proud of all that you've accomplished. But you're playing chess with people, trying to see 10 steps ahead all the time. Like, and I don't think you understand that that's a part of you, a wounded part of you that is trying to take control. Like, if you can account for the next 10 steps, or you have a plan for the next 10 things you're going to do that is going to force the hand of someone else to get a certain result, that you would get your way. Like, I don't necessarily think you realize that doing that it's great for a game of chess, but it's not great for relationships with people. Like, they're not your opponent. They're your partner. You know, there's a difference. And I think you may have treated your partners and their decision-making ability like an opponent that you had to outsmart. Does it make sense? Right? You wanted to control how certain things unfolded. And instead of really listening to them or allowing them to be a co-creator with you in life, you were playing chess with them like they were an opponent that you had to outsmart in order to win, right? Or get what you want. And it kind of defeats what they want. You know, you're not working with them and co-creating with them so much as you are playing a game. And maybe you didn't really see that for what it is. Like, the panda is super cute, you know what I mean? But it was hiding its face when I saw it. It's almost like embarrassed. Like, I really do feel like a part of you felt innocent in it. And maybe potentially vilified someone else. When really you didn't understand the kind of weight that you brought into the dynamic at the time and what you were putting someone up against, because they didn't come into the relationship dynamic feeling like they had to go up against you. They were ready or trying to walk side by side with you, but you were looking at them and their needs as competing against your wants and needs. And they didn't get involved with you in this relationship to compete their needs versus yours, you know? So, I mean, I think there may have been a failure to see the weight that your behavior put on someone else, that they were dealing with you playing chess with them and not necessarily winning and getting their needs or desires or whatever met with you. You know, that it was kind of impossible because it always ended up your way or your way. You know? Yeah, I don't think you realize the weight you brought into the situation, or how controlling that kind of behavior, that kind of thought process, right, in relationships really is, and how difficult it is for someone else to navigate that, right? How difficult it is for someone else to create a healthy relationship with you when your needs are competing against theirs instead of co-creating with them, right? So let's see. Hey, Story. How you doing? Yeah, full moon antics is right. For real. Let's get some more insight into the situation, please, Spirit. What else do we need to know? You were keeping tabs. This is the High Priestess, but it's the immediate thought that I got. Like tallies. Like keeping track. The World. The Ten of Swords. The Six of Coin. The Eight of Cups. Give me more. And the Queen of Wands. Clarities, please. For Panda Paws. Secret code name Panda Paws. Give me one more. Fine, two more. Okay. Bottom of the deck is the Five of Pentacles. Top is the Eight of Swords. So, you might have been really in your head about money. With that top and bottom, a fear of either you giving too much or a fear of them not giving enough, or afraid of not having some kind of financial stability to fall back on. Because this is a serious fear of having no money. All right, with the 8 of Swords and the 5 of Coins on the top and bottom. It could be like a fear of someone else being in control of your finances, right? Like if, let's just say you were in a committed relationship, at some point you would have to have that conversation of either we both keep our finances separate and contribute what we can, and what you make is not my business and what you have is not my business, and vice versa, as long as our financial commitments to each other are honored. Or you could have had a dynamic where you literally shared finances. What I make is yours and what you make is mine, and what we make is ours, and when we agree on what we're going to put it towards. You know, you might have been in a relationship dynamic with somebody where maybe you preferred to keep your own finances separate, you know, and honor financial commitments. And maybe they were more of a person that, you know, what I make is yours and what you make is mine, and what we make is ours. But you were afraid of that. And so maybe you could have potentially agreed to what they wanted, but still had secrets. Right? The high priestess is secretive. And it's because there is this fear of not having, right? There's this fear of commitment financially. And it was causing anxiety. The secrets, right? The inner tallies that you were keeping track of, the funds that you were keeping track of. Like you were still making sure that it was equal while keeping something off to the side, keeping something separate, trying to make it appear the way they want it to appear. And yet trying to keep it your way too. I think that was causing you a lot of anxiety below the surface, right? With the 9 of Swords. The secrets that you were keeping. And the World with the Emperor. Either you couldn't do it anymore or they couldn't do it anymore. Because even if they didn't know for certain that you were keeping things from them, they might have been able to sense it. They might have been able to sense it. You may have even, in your own anxious state, picked at them or was petty in order to get more from them, to have them contribute more, in order to keep whatever you had secret going. This might even be a pattern. Like you might have a pattern of keeping tabs and keeping track or tallying what you do and what other people do, like tit for tat. It might be what you do with your friends too. You know, and it works for some people. Like, yeah, I got you this time. I'll pick up the tab. You pick up the tab next time, you know. But it's almost like you picked up this tab and it was $70, and then they picked up this tab, but it was only $20. And you don't feel like it's fair if you were to pick up the next tab and it's $80, and then the next tab is $10, you know, and it's like, it's not, you're keeping track of it. Even if it's tit for tat, and you're going back and forth. It's like that kind of energy. Like you're tracking it down to the nuances. Because there's this fear of giving too much. And being without or taking losses. You would rather someone overinvest in you than you would overinvest in them. Like there is a real serious fear of taking losses. And it sabotages your ability to nurture. It sabotages your ability to empathize with someone else. Because they might not be perceiving it the same way that you are. They might not be attached to the nuances the way that you are. Like it just worked out for them this time that, you know, they only had to pick up a $20 tab type mentality. But it's not like they wouldn't have your back if you needed them for anything. Like you could ask them to borrow $50 and they would give it to you without wanting it back, you know, and there's your 70-20, but you wouldn't dare ask for $50. You know what I mean? Like you're trying to get it back elsewhere. It's like you're trying to get it back in other ways because it's almost petty. Petty's the wrong word, but it's right there, you know. I think that you have this potentially unconscious thing where you want to have enough secretly that if anybody asked you for anything like a favor, you could give it to them. But at the same time, you don't want to give any of it. It's like a power position. You want to be in that power position. You don't want to feel without financially because it makes you feel powerless. So you need or desire this financial security and you keep it secreted. You keep it away. Right? The high priestess could be some 12th house stuff. You could be dealing with some Saturn stuff with the world card. Definitely some scorpionic energy, right? Secrets with the death card and judgment out here. Aryan energy out here. And when people want from you or they don't understand the fixation that you have with stability and control, or they try and change you, you either walk away and cut them off because they're not emotionally supportive of you, right? They don't understand how you feel, but that's not the case, right? It's not that they don't understand how you feel. You're keeping things from them and they don't understand you, period. You're used to putting a certain version of yourself forward for other people to see, and they think they know you, but they don't. And the reality is, you don't know how to put in the effort to create the kind of relationship you really do want to create. Because if you want a healthy relationship where, you know, things are open and there is plenty and enough and there's commitment from your partner, like you're not being taken advantage of, like in order to achieve that kind of healthy dynamic, you would have to let the secrets and the control, the desire to feel powerful because you're good with or without them, like that whole mentality, right? That whole mentality. I don't think you realize how hard you make it on your partner. Because you're always keeping some kind of secret / fear from them in case things go south, in case y'all break up. But if that's the case, like, why are you getting involved in a relationship with someone if there's a chance that they're gonna leave you? Like, get involved in a relationship, a committed relationship with somebody, because you're both committed to staying together for the long run, right? You're not just dating for it to be a fling. You're dating for commitment. You're dating for long term. You're dating because loyalty. You're dating because you all get along. You're dating because you have things in common. Like, you're dating because you trust each other. Because why would you get involved in a relationship with someone and allow them to feel like they're in a relationship with you and maybe they're committed to you when you're afraid of the day it's over? Like, if you're afraid of the day it's over before it even really gets going and it's in your subconscious on the back burner, you're going to sabotage it. You know what I mean? How can you have a committed relationship built on trust, which is what you want? A committed relationship built on trust and security, when you yourself are keeping secrets and technically not trustworthy or stable for them. You could feel threatened and pull out at any time and not even want to work on it. And any investment they made in you is just gone. It's not really fair to someone who is in a genuine space. Wrap this up, Spirit. What is the guidance moving forward? What choices is in the highest good to be made for secretly named Panda Paws and those who would resonate to it? What choices? What's the highest good course moving forward? Seven of Cups, the World, Three of Cups, the Lovers. Give me one more. And the Eight of Swords. Bottom of the deck is the Nine of Swords. Top is the Eight of Cups. Eight of Cups is out twice. Eight of Swords is out twice. Nine of Swords is out twice. The World is out twice. I think you need to close chapters of confusion and choose joy. I think you have to move away from the anxiety and the kind of fear-based instinct to start weaving the web to play chess, right? You kind of have to catch yourself and realize that you are blocking someone else's will, which desires to commit to you, to actually happen. When you start playing chess with people to keep yourself secure, to get what you want, to keep that tally that you're keeping track of, you know, fair in your mind. I think you need to remember to hold compassion for the person who's trying to have a relationship with you, right? Or trying to have a friendship with you, or trying to work with you, right? Whatever the case may be. Hey, Tanya, how you doing? Yeah, I think the best course of action is to let go of the fog and indulging in the game. Indulging in the game. Indulging in the desire to win. And looking at your partner like a competitor. Or whoever they are, you know, in your outer experience. You don't need to exude power or control over people worth committing to. And I think if you find this need to indulge in that energy, they're probably not in alignment with your highest good. They have somewhere else or someone else they need to be involved with respectfully. That's in alignment with them. Whether the alignment is higher or lower outside of you doesn't really matter. But if they're drawing up that energy in you where you feel the need to exude power and control and stay 10 steps ahead of them so that you're good if they decide to pull out or they decide to leave or whatever, I think you already have some kind of inkling that maybe either they are not your person and they are in alignment with someone else, or they are your person and you are not ready for them. Your alignment is not ready for them because they're not competing with you and playing with you. They're being open and honest and transparent, and you are not, you know. So I think that that's going to be a big lesson for you, right? Self-recognition. I hope it makes sense. That is the intention, right? To have it make sense. So Panda Paws, let me know in the comments if you were drawn to the reading or if it resonated with you. Okay. All right. We're going to move forward to secret code name A Zebra's Stripes. And all of the different sayings that come along with it. I was thinking about it, you know, like you can't change a zebra's stripes. And it could be the saying isn't with tigers, but I was receiving it as if it was for zebras, you know. Zebras are more skittish than tigers. If you're, you know, you can't change a tiger's stripes, but Spirit gave to me like zebras, and the difference between a tiger and a zebra, like one technically would hunt the other if they lived in the same kind of environment, but details. Something about creating confusion, right? Because zebras, as a defense mechanism, when there's predators around, they'll huddle, but they'll kind of run, you know, like they'll run in these patterns, and all of their stripes blur together, and it's hard to distinguish individual zebras when they're all like that. They create chaos, and it's hard to see. You might feel like that. Even if you're not I'm almost picking up on this vibe that multiple people might be moving about their energy rather frantically to try and confuse you. But yet you're not necessarily hunting them, you know what I mean? Like you're not even in the same energy space. Let's see, I'm going to need to read timestamp that. I didn't write it. All right. A zebra stripe. Spirit, what do we need to know in order for it to all make sense? What is going on? Secret code name is zebra stripes. Okay. So I'm going with the idea that you are the royal figure on the cards. And it looks to me as if you had a plan. You had a plan and you wanted other people to stick to the plan. And instead, this jester, who I'm literally, Spirit's given it to me like they're a joke, right? And they're holding up this mirror and they're confiscating you from the throne. They've knocked you off. They've knocked you off your throne. Not only did the jester knock you off your throne, they've put you in their baggage. You could see it here. Like a puppet. They've put you inside their bag. And the same idea is on this card, right? They're both walking with the bag over their shoulder, only in this, and there's lightning in both of them. But in the second image, there is someone else on the path waving goodbye as they move forward. That might be you too. The jester could be read like Uranus. And you might have come in and knocked somebody off their high horse, so to speak. And you're moving forward with just a little bag, and somebody else is moving towards the storm with a whole cart of bags. Right? They've got a whole cart full. It's like you're praying. Like you need to be forgiven. Someone has mommy issues. Because their mother won't let them play the way they want to play. Won't let them play with their toys. Won't let them play the way they want. And it's almost like you've got an adult in your reality who has a temper tantrum or gets upset when they can't play, quote unquote, play the way that they want. Maybe the way that they're playing is inappropriate. Maybe the way that they're playing hurts the other people that they're playing with. And they're being told, you can't play like that. And they're like, to hell with what you think, I'm going to do what I want. Right? I'm going to play the way that I want. They might also wish or have wished that certain people would just be unalive. Including their mother. It's almost like especially if they have a sibling who is like perfect, quote unquote, and they weren't. Like they have this idea of what perfect is, and that they are not that, and they're obstinate. I don't think they're I don't think they knew how to please their mother as a youth. And they've taken that pattern into their adulthood. And it's mirroring for you in some way. It kind of like, you know, as an analogy, maybe your mother always saw you with a certain type of partner. Maybe you were never attracted to that kind of partner. Maybe you were always attracted to different people, and those different people always had issues. And you don't know how to attract the kind of partner that your mother would want for you. And there's this kind of anger, not necessarily at your mother, you know, but like you didn't get the greatest example, maybe, or you didn't understand all the trials that your mother went through in order to achieve what she did. Just to maybe not even get it right. Like you don't know how to actually attract what it is that would quote unquote make your mother proud. I think a part of you feels embarrassed for the failures that you've taken on, the quote unquote failures. They're not really failures, they're lessons that are being learned, right? But they're being perceived as failures. Like, how come I keep failing, right? And feeling like a joke. And you can't stop yourself from walking into the storm of other people. And it manifests because you're trying to prevent other people from walking into the storm. And that would be how you catch it, right? If you feel the need to keep them from walking into the storm of their life, right? Feeling the need to guide them or say, hey, maybe you should do this, or maybe you should go that way. Maybe you should take this path. Maybe you should make choices more like this, right? Instead of trying to direct people away from the storm, like, you got to know if they're walking towards the storm, you got to let them walk and go the opposite direction of wherever they are. You know what I mean? Like, that's your instant cue. If you actually want to attract someone who you can be proud of being with and would reflect in your mother's ability to be proud of you, it would be by walking in the opposite direction of people who are headed towards a storm. Their behavior, their choices, their lifestyle, like, you need to go in the opposite direction, right? Just like this card here. They're walking in opposite directions. So you got to let them go their way towards the storm. Like, you want to go towards the storm, that's fine. But I'm going this way. Like, you're walking uphill. And it's harder. You know, not only are you walking towards the storm, you're walking uphill. Like, you sure it's an easier path this way. And they're like, no, I'm walking towards the storm. You can follow me. And you're like, you got to be able to say, no, I'm good. Right? Hey, Cynthia, how you doing? Nice to see you. Yeah, you've got to be able to say no. Like, that's how you actually attract what it is that you want. Like, you can't be the epiphany or the revelation for other people. The epiphany or the revelation has to hit you when you cross paths with these people. You're like, okay, I need to go in the opposite direction of that person and get as far away from that person as possible, because they're literally headed in the wrong direction. And I can't convince them otherwise, right? It's like accepting the defeat before it becomes a defeat, which is kind of like accepting your own win, if that makes sense. Insight into this, please, Spirit. Her secret code name, a zebra's stripes. What else do we need to know about this? Really, lots of the Fool energy. Fool's out. Clarities, please. Okay. So this is making sense to me. I'll explain in a second. Give me one more, Spirit. Bottom of the deck is the 9 of coin. Top of the deck is the 9 of cups. Okay. So in relationships, right, we have the 2 of cups and the king of coins, with the fool and the 3 of coin, the knight of coins and the 4 of wands reversed, the wheel of fortune with the emperor reversed, the 3 of wands with the moon, and the 8 of wands with the wands. In relationships, you are the provider. This is the pattern, right? In relationships, you have more financial stability than the partners that you connect yourself with. And you take a leap of faith on them because you want them to embody your energy. And maybe they are contracted to, but not because you train them to. I'm being drawn to the dog on the Fool card. It's like you're trying to train them. To be better providers, like a better provider than you. But what happens is you end up trying to quote unquote train an opportunist who doesn't share your vision. They just have something to gain from what you bring to the table. They're opportunistic. That's what I'm getting off the Knight of Coins with the 4 of Wands in the reverse. And then you're confused when the Emperor is upside down, right? It's kind of giving that vibe here. Where the Fool or whoever it is that is a joke, like that you're trying to train to be better, knocks you off your throne. You're like, what the hell? You know? What the hell? Like, you thought you were in control because you were more stable and trying to train them to be more stable. And when they knock you out of control because they're defiant, right? They're defiant. You don't want me to play the way I want to. You don't want me to be and act the way I want to. It's that kind of vibe. They get defiant and almost like make it their mission to fight you to the point that you would be dead to them. Or that they push you to the point that they are dead to you. They get defiant. They're an opportunist. They didn't get into a dynamic with you because they were going to grow. They didn't get into this dynamic with you so that they could be better, so that you can train them and help them gain some kind of discipline over themselves, right? Control over themselves. They didn't get into the relationship with you for that reason. They were opportunistic. And the minute you tried to train them or teach them self-control, to teach them discipline so that they could live a better life, they throw a fucking tantrum. They start acting out in a way that pushes you out of their life completely, to where you guys are like strangers, to where you're dead to each other. I mean, how many people have you been in relationship dynamics with where they're literally dead to you in hindsight? Because you wanted them to learn how to control themselves and be a better person instead of some unruly, wild child who doesn't know how to play nice with others and just does whatever they want. And it doesn't matter if someone gets hurt in the process. It doesn't matter if the furniture gets wrecked, so to speak. Right, analogies. They don't care. And then these people knock you off your throne. They knock you out of control. And you don't necessarily know what to do. A part of you wants to see the light and be optimistic about a potential future with them. But it's not real, right? The Three of Wands with the moon, that path forward, getting knocked out of control by someone who is unruly and unwilling to be or gain control over themselves. Someone who is unwilling to discipline themselves. To see potential and light path with them is a delusion. And you're getting these pings. What do you desire? Right? What is it that you really want to manifest? Because if you really want to manifest somebody in control of themselves, you want to manifest somebody who is disciplined and knows how to act, knows how to be in partnerships and have healthy relationships. If you want to be in that and that's what you desire, like when you see someone who is unruly or has no self-discipline, like you really do got to run in the other direction. You got to get as far away from that energy as possible because they are not going to become what you want. You have to find what you want the way that it is already. You can't make somebody be it. And that requires your discipline and your self-control, your ability to not provide opportunities for opportunists. You cannot discipline them. They have mommy issues. They're rebelling against their mother. They are rebelling against their mother. And if you try to discipline them, they are going to rebel against you. Really get to know somebody first. Get to know their relationship with their mother. And really get to know their mother and make sure their mother ain't delulu about who they are either. Because it's telling to what kind of problems you're going to have moving forward. Mothers can be in denial of how unruly their kids are all the time, or be in denial that they even have issues with them because they don't even want to see the fact that they weren't a great parent. They're avoiding that reality. You know, like a mother who says, no, you can't play like that, but they don't teach them the right way to play and show them that it's fun to play this way. And not only is it fun to play this way, other people want to play with you when you play this way. Like they had a mother who was maybe just corrective and not showing or teaching, but just correcting. Like pointing out the negatives without teaching how to switch it to a positive. And they might manifest people that, you know, want to teach them or discipline them, but they, no matter how Once you show them that this is the better way, they automatically take it like it's corrective and it's negative, and that you're not showing them anything positive because that's their program. Like, that's what they had with their mom. So they don't see you as participating in the instruction. They just see you as nagging them or correcting them or telling them that they're wrong. They don't hear or see how you're showing them the right way, because that's their mommy issue. And they haven't healed it yet, and so they projected at you. You just don't want me to have fun. No. I do want you to have fun. I want you to have a great life that you enjoy. There's other ways to enjoy life. Let me show you. They've just been told that they can't enjoy life this way, and they're like, bet, I'll enjoy life any way I want. Because they were never shown another way, right? It stems back to their mother, and it's created a behavior pattern. It's created a behavior pattern that they have not dove into yet. And it's probably been a pattern in multiple relationships for you. Best course of action. Got the Ace of Swords. The Prince of Wands and the Four of Pentacles. The Three of Cups and the Ace of Wands. Eight of Swords is on bottom with the Sun on top. The Ace of Swords is the ultimate truth. Your vibe creates your reality. I think you want to create this door, this portal into peace. I think you pray for mercy from Spirit to help you get out of these patterns. I think your prayer is being answered, but I think that you don't see how it's manifesting, which can cause you some anxiety, but it doesn't mean it's not coming to fruition. It's just going to take a little time. Just know that if you prayed and you're taking actions in alignment with your light, in alignment with courage, and utilizing your own magic to heal, that Spirit heard your prayer and it's already being answered. It's already being answered. But there's like, I'm getting this, like, there's this process to it. There's certain things that Spirit's doing that you can't see. And so it's almost like Spirit's asking you to be patient while it comes into manifestation. Because it's not like one of those flash things. It's taken a minute. So like, stay in your power, stay in your truth, stay in your courage. Stay in that vibration of peace and knowing that mercy is coming in for you, because I think when you understand this and you are no longer willing to quote unquote train people to gain control over themselves, that they would have discipline and self-control. And you just allow the right aligned people to come in. Because you're walking away from the storm, and the smart people who walk away from storms are going to be at the same destination you're headed towards. Like, you'll get there. Really, lots of sun energy in these cards. I think the truth starts everything. And when you are really honest with yourself and you allow that ultimate truth to come out and you communicate that with a strength, right, and a courage, that lion on the Prince of Wands. I think when you allow that vibe to come through, it really does start to change things. It's almost like you were walking down a certain path towards the storm and were like, you know what, I'm just going to turn left real quick and loop around. And you just got to walk that path for a little bit away from the storm, and it leads somewhere. You are getting signs and synchronicities and divine downloads and messages. Like, you are being guided. Like, the eagle is like Archangel Michael. You're being protected on your path. But I think you're fucking tired of getting knocked off your throne for trying to help somebody who is just an unruly, undisciplinable child. You want an adult relationship with someone who acts like an adult and not what they think an adult is, but like a real adult, someone who is responsible and disciplined. Yeah, I think you got a bunch of people in your life that just created a bunch of confusion and you can't pin it down. Or maybe you couldn't up until this point, you know. I think when you discipline yourself and walk away from those kinds of people permanently, like you see them and you immediately walk in the other direction as far away from them as possible, that it does end up leading you exactly where you are meant to be and who you are meant to be surrounded by or with in your life. All right, we're going to get into secret code name, the Hamburglar. Flashback to old school McDonald's commercials. Oh my God, the Hamburglar, if y'all remember. Yeah, I was guided to the Hamburglar. And I think it's interesting because, like, the Hamburglar was trying to steal all the McDonald's hamburgers, right? And yet, McDonald's doesn't serve the best quality, healthy food. And it's almost like maybe in the past you would have gotten upset because someone was trying to steal something from you, but if you realized what it was they were trying to steal, you wouldn't be so mad. You're like, go ahead, steal it. Go ahead, take it. Like, someone thinks they're being slick and stealing from you, you know? Stealing something of value, right? Those cheeseburgers are on the value menu. But the actual value of them is really shite. I don't know. Let's see. What insight do we need, Spirit? The secret code name, the Hamburglar. What is making sense? What is starting to make sense? For secret code name, the Hamburglar. What do they need to be aware of? Okay. I feel like there's more. Okay. All right. I feel like there's a lot of lonely energy, right? We've got this card here. Feeling alone in the cave. We've got this energy here. She's in like funeral attire. We've got this energy here. Feeling trapped, right? And then we've got this energy here. Wanting to crawl back into their shell. Isolate. Okay. For you, I feel like you get a little lost in your mind about what it would be like to be alone or without someone sometimes. Like, this is the center card here. It's a marriage, right? There's the two people with children and all that. Okay. And I feel like inside your subconscious, inside the thoughts that you have that you don't necessarily talk about, but things you think about. I think you think about how sad you would be if you lost someone. You might go there inside your mind more often than you realize. And I don't want to say it's not normal, but I think how often those thoughts actually come up for you. It's not how do I want to say this without offending? Because I don't want you to feel some type of way about yourself, okay? But how often you let yourself get sad or feel through what it would feel like, the pain state of what it would be like to lose someone. It's almost like you go there so that you don't think about what it would be like to let it go. Like you're convincing yourself to stay, even if you sometimes feel like you're trapped in it. Like they're your king, right? They're your king. You put them on the throne or the pedestal. And you put in a lot of work, right? You plant a lot of seeds to keep that dream alive. You tend to a lot of things. But you feel trapped a lot. And a part of you wants to go into your shell and kind of get away from it. But I think you pull yourself back into it with these thoughts of how sad you would be if they died. And that thought, letting yourself feel that consistently, is actually what pushes you to stay. Because you know how sad you would be if they were gone. And you wouldn't want to ever live without them. I hope this makes sense. We've got strong Capricorn, strong Aquarius on the board. Strong Taurus and Pisces on the board. Libra and Leo, Cancer on the board. Even got a little Virgo in there. Yeah, I feel like you're really conflicted, because on one hand, it might seem picture perfect or everything you could have always asked for, but in the same breath, it also feels like a prison. And to keep yourself in the perfect picture, despite it feeling sometimes like a prison, you revert to the thought of how sad you would be if they were dead, how lost you would be without them, how sad you would be without them. And it pulls you back into it to where you can stay in the picture perfect, quote unquote, picture perfect reality, despite feeling like a prisoner. Let's better understand this. Let's better understand this, Spirit. Where does this come from? Like, you put in a lot of work to keep it kind of picture perfect. But I really do feel like there is a part of you that feels like a prisoner that you are not addressing and might be outright ignoring. And you use those dark thoughts is Scorpio. I'm really being pulled to Scorpio. You use those dark thoughts to keep you going. Spirit, help with some insight. Explain. Yeah, the Ten of Cups. That's that energy right there, right? And that's the first card out. Yeah, juggling ideal and real. Six of Coins on bottom. Temperance is on top. Sag energy. Pisces, Cancer, Libra is out here. This might have a lot to do with your moon placement. Yeah, you've got the Two of Swords on the Ten of Cups. And you really are planting seeds, right, to make the reality more ideal. But it's so slow. Most times, if not all the time, like the growth is so slow, it literally feels like it's stagnating. And you get these pings, these downloads about wish fulfillment. But then your shadow immediately blocks it out and you become uncomfortable with it. And you don't defend the Ace of Cups or the justice that the universe would bring you. You use those dark thoughts to keep you going. But I think when those dark thoughts come about, it's the exact thing you have to loosen your grip on. Not saying, that you would have to let it go entirely, although in most cases, scorpionic energy, you probably would. The whole reason you're planting seeds and doing all of this work with the vision in mind is because you don't actually have the vision. It's not actually ideal. And you put in so much work. And it's so slow. It's so slow that it feels like a prison. You're between a rock and a hard place because you have the Ten of Cups, that you are very well aware of the fact that most other people envy and wish they had. But the only reason why it keeps going like it does is because you override your trapped thoughts with worse thoughts. Well, this is bad and I feel trapped, but this would be worse. Losing them would be worse. And it's like you go over this script in your head. It's a belief system. It doesn't necessarily make it true, though. Like the moon in Pisces is a belief system, but it's also tied to undoing, self-undoing with the 12th house. And you're in conflict with it. It's almost like you know you're doing it. You know you're going to darker places in order to stay in dark places that aren't as dark, instead of listening to your pings, listening to your intuition about the Ace of Cups and the Justice card that you are not defending. A part of you likes having what others do not. A part of you knows that they want what you have. A part of you knows it. A part of you might know it so well that you feel crazy for feeling trapped in it, which is why you go to darker thoughts to kind of maintain where you're at. It's really interesting. My father used to do that. My father used to take such crazy abuse. Probably still does. I don't know. I haven't talked to him in damn near a decade. But my father would take such abuse from my mother. Verbal, psychological, emotional, sometimes physical, definitely financial abuse from my mother. And I begged him to leave her so many times. And he used to cry. He goes, I don't know what I would do without your mother. I love your mother. Like, if anything ever happened to your mother, I don't know what I would do. And he would cry. And it's like the thought of being without her, of being alone and without her, was worse than being inside the life that he created with her, which was like a fucking prison. I mean, given my parents' relationship was an extreme case, and it's the example I'm using in your life might not be nearly as extreme, but it's the same energy. It's justifying the trapped feeling where you're taking some level of abuse or neglect and maybe failing to see it for what it is, and you're using how much you love someone and the thought of being without them as a reason to stay in it. Especially because it looks like a 10 of Cups. It's socially acceptable. It's socially acceptable. It's envied. What's the guidance? What steps and guidance, please, Spirit? Got the 9 of Swords. That's making its appearance today, ain't it? The 4 of Pentacles. The Prince of Wands. The Lovers, the 3 of Cups, and the Knight of Pentacles, now out twice. Justice again, and the 7 of Swords. I think you're afraid you peaked at the 4 of Pentacles. You don't even realize that there are 10 Pentacles out there. I think you've mistaken the 4 of Pentacles for a 10 of Pentacles. And you might say, no way, I definitely have the 10 of Pentacles. I have the 10 of Cups. And I'm telling you right now, you are convincing yourself to stay in 4 of Pentacles energy, control of the reality. You're controlling it. You're continuing to garden, so to speak. You're continuing to plant seeds. You're continuing to hold this vision, making little to no progress, or it's excruciatingly slow. And you're inspired to choose joy. I think you are robbing yourself of justice in some which way, shape, or form. And it could be as simple as communicating how trapped you feel sometimes. Instead of going to your dark thoughts and convincing yourself not to feel trapped, maybe you actually just need to talk about it instead of hiding it and talking yourself through it or out of it, so that you can actually make progress on it. More than little to none. Like, a part of you has to put your foot down and say, I am unwilling to feel trapped. I'm not going to self-soothe with worse thoughts. I'm not going to self-soothe with sad or worse thoughts. The worst thoughts aren't even a reality. The reality is the trapped feeling you're dealing with. Feel like a fool trying to create radical change from a prison cell. You know, going back to the secret code name and how we started it, I was talking about, like, if someone could steal it off of you, is it really nourishing? Like, you might get upset at first because they're stealing something from you, but what are they really stealing? Like, it's a fucking McDonald's hamburger. Like, what is the true nourishing value of it? Like, thank you. Thank you for stealing my fucking bullshit hamburger from fucking McDonald's that has no real nutritional value. Matter of fact, it is probably toxic to my being. Thank you for stealing it from me. I'm going to go get something healthier and better for me. Thank you for stealing it. And instead, you're chasing after your hamburgers. I don't know what it would be like to live without my hamburgers. My life would be so horrible and I would be so sad if I didn't have my hamburgers. Right? The Hamburglar stole your hamburgers. Like, if your hamburgers could be stolen, they obviously weren't that valuable. They were easily stolen. Why are you getting upset? Or putting yourself in these upset thoughts to try and make a fucking McDonald's hamburger valuable, right? Metaphorically speaking, whoever is your McDonald's hamburger, they are not nearly as valuable as you've made them out to be. You've put them on a pedestal. You have this vision that McDonald's hamburger is going to be a Five Guys fucking double burger one day. It's not, though. It would take a lot of fucking work. There would have to be a grand restructuring within the McDonald's Corporation to turn their hamburgers into a Five Guys burger. We're talking about major restructuring. Company overhaul. So whoever this person is, they need a major restructuring. Major. They need to change their values. They need to change their company motto. They need to change what they're made of. Because what they're made of, it's not holding any healthy value for you. But you are convinced that it is so valuable. It is so valuable. You don't know what you would do if you didn't have them. They are the most valuable. And they're not. Not like you think. They are 4 of Pentacles, not 10. There is major work that needs to be done. I think you need to cut the dark conversations out and start having real honest communications. And be willing to make changes. If you want to get out of this pattern. Because it's definitely a pattern. And you could probably apply that to multiple people in your life. In some which way, shape, or form. Although you probably know exactly who this message is actually about. But it's probably a pattern. But I do not doubt it rings true for one person in particular. It is probably where your thoughts go that you don't want it to go to that person, but you know it is. The 7 of Swords. You rob yourself of justice. You don't feel like you can manifest certain things. Or that you would be alone. And you know what? Maybe it's because on some deep level, you feel as valuable as a McDonald's hamburger. And maybe that's deep. Maybe you need a complete restructuring, a major upgrade. And you need to correct or level up what you're made of. Yeah, there's something deeply psychological about this. I hope it helps make sense of some things for you. Or at least that it starts to help you make sense of some things. Because going to dark places in order to stay in dark situations because the thoughts are darker, like that's not normal. There's something very psychologically twisted about doing that to yourself. Like you shouldn't need to do that. I don't know a better, more sugar-coated way to say it. I'm sorry. All right. You might want to seek out counsel, like counseling, just for you personally to try and work through the restructuring so that you can have someone outside of yourself and situation without any bias help you break through that for yourself. If you're not already in some kind of counseling or therapy. To get to the root of why you do that. Okay. I love you. All right, we're going to get into the last secret code name the Post. Secret code name the Post. I was shown a newspaper, like the New York Post or something. I know there's the New York Times, but there's also like the New York Post. I was shown like newspaper articles. And I mean, it could be like the Post online. like people post online all the time, but I was specifically shown a newspaper. And I felt like there was some kind of breaking news, but the breaking news was being written through a skewed lens that distorted the news, but the breaking news was still important and needed to be kind of discerned through beyond the skewed deliverance of it. There's a lot of different words tied to post, like an article, right? Articles can also be written in magazines. They can be written online, but there's also articles of clothing. You know, the post can also be called the press. And there's different things attached to that energy as well. Like there's a lot of interesting verbiage, interesting words that have double meanings. Like even the post, like, yeah, it's a newspaper post, but there's also online posts. Like there's a whole lot of double meanings to it. I don't know. We're going to get into it. Spirit, what do we need to say? What is going on with secret code name The Post and those who've been drawn to it? What do they need to know? What needs to make sense? What needs to make sense to them? Secret code name The Post. What do they need to know? What do they need to say? What needs to be clear? Chop wood. I've been saying that to myself lately. Like that, fetch water, chop wood. Okay. Okay. So this is going in a completely different direction than the other reads. You have someone in there, you or someone, but there's someone in their authentic song, their soul song, and people are listening to them, right? They're listening. People are following their lead. People are following the Pied Piper, I guess. And I think that it may be you, and you may be in this mode of doing what you need to do every day, right? Fetch water, chop wood. Every day, wake up and be grateful that you can fetch water and chop wood. And you're doing your everyday mundane tasks. Very Virgoian energy. Wake up, be grateful, fetch water, chop wood. Go to bed grateful, wake up grateful, fetch more water, chop more wood. And you may be doing rather well for yourself. Like, people are, in fact, listening to you. Your soul song is attractive. It's attracting people. I think you might have slayed your old self. Like, shed your old skin and left it in the dust. And you might be dealing with someone a vampiric energy. Okay. Someone maybe who's Mars ruled. It's Aries, Scorpio. Who's wounded. Who might see how well you're doing in your everyday life with your everyday tasks. And they've been on a long journey with the universe kind of putting them through soul alchemy. I feel like that figure on the card is kind of like the universe, and it's got them in this vessel right over the flame, like this alchemy set. And it's got them in there, and it's putting them in this alchemical process. Like the universe might have essentially put them through hell. To be fair, this person may have put you through hell at one point, and now you're thriving in your life, being grateful, doing your everyday work, fetching water, chopping wood. And I feel like this person, you rose like the phoenix. I think this is self-flagellation, whipping of the self-punishment. That's fucking rough. They may be coming out of a certain cycle, which is why they're here in the reading. Because I feel like spirit, like there's a circle of salt on the floor around the universe with this alchemy set, with this person's soul in there. Like the process that spirit is putting them through has been protected. It hasn't been interfered with. But they've been self-punishing for a hot minute. To be fair, seeing you thrive or seeing how people listen to you and respect you and follow you might really fucking bother them. Like you moved on with your life. And they went down this wounded path, and spirit's been putting them through the fire. I'll have to go back and see. There might be a new or a full moon in Scorpio that might be relevant, or a blood moon, right? Like a lunar like a lunar eclipse that may, if you go back into the secret code name readings, there might be something that is significant to that. Like the full moon in Scorpio would have happened in Taurus season, April, May. Let's get some insight into this. What needs to make sense? Let's get some more insight into this. Ten of Pentacles. Six of Wands. Five of Cups. Three of Wands. The Hanged Man and the King of Wands. Clarities, please. Okay. Bottom of the deck is the Chariot. Top of the deck is the Hermit. I think you moved ahead sovereign. And I think there's some definite mirroring here between you and whoever this is, but maybe in different spectrums. Like the Fool card on the 10 of coins. Maybe you both took a leap of faith on a new living situation. And maybe, even though it's different for the both of you, like maybe you are supporting yourself and paying for your own apartment. Maybe that wasn't the case before. Maybe you didn't know if you were capable of providing for yourself, but you are. Maybe they went and bought a house, you know, or stopped renting, you know, and actually tried to commit to something somewhere, right? But you both took a leap of faith on a new type of 10 of Pentacles for yourselves. And it may have been a victory. May have been a victory for a while. You know, it felt like fortune was going in your favor. Maybe it was a victory for them and they felt like fortune was going in their favor. But there's this Five of Cups and it's drawing me to this vampiric energy. It's coming out with the Temperance card. And that is like the alchemy going on. Temperance, Sagittarius is the alchemist. And I feel like this person, whoever or wherever they are, they look for you in the world. They hope they see you sometimes, even if you're nowhere near them. It's like they wish they could tell you what they want. The Queen of Coin and the King of Coin. The Hanged Man, I feel like they're definitely seeing something differently. And the King of Wands, like they're desiring and visualizing that feels like home feeling. Because the Five of Pentacles is in the reverse under the King of Wands. And the King of Wands is a visionary. It's what is being visualized. And it's that feels like home. Like the Five of Pentacles upright feels misplaced, feels abandoned. In the reverse is being somewhere where you feel you belong. Wherever this person is, it doesn't feel like home. Because you are not there. It doesn't feel like home. They feel like they don't belong. They might want to belong. They might try really hard to belong. But that's the self-punishment that they're inflicting on themselves. Because they didn't make you feel welcomed. Because they had you feeling misplaced, like you didn't belong in their life. That they didn't welcome you in and make you feel warm and at purpose and important in their life. That you took a leap of faith on something different. And were victorious at that, right? Fortune changed. It's almost... it's like... even if they have the 10 of Pentacles, they've manifested some kind of accomplishment, some 3D reality accomplishment that they once thought was a victory. They're suffering in it because they don't feel like they belong. And a part of them is afraid that you would find someone else who makes you feel like you belong in their life. And that this person would have no choice but to continue suffering for the rest of their life because they didn't give it to you and someone else did. And so it's like they have to stay in the suffering, but they're not necessarily coming towards you to give you the vibe that they're afraid of you getting from someone else either. I feel as if this person has an attachment to you. They have an attachment to you that they can't shake it, because I think that you might have been the first person to genuinely give them a place in your life. Someone who genuinely made room for them to exist with you, you know. Like everywhere else in their life, they didn't feel like they belonged. And maybe you were the first person who gave them a place that belonged to them with you. And they pushed it away. They were vampiric. And so you let go. They didn't want to belong in your life. And so you let them go. Probably hoped and wished that they found somewhere that they belonged, that they felt they belonged. Because you don't give that kind of love and belonging, that place to people, to just anybody. That was someone you genuinely cared about. You gave them a place in your life that they could feel at home in, that they could be comforted in. And wherever they are now, they don't feel like they belong, and they're kicking themselves for it or lashing themselves for it. But they they don't feel deserving of you. Like this person has some really rough energy. And I think they're going through it. I think the divine is working on them to help them. I don't know how much progress Spirit is actually making with this person. I feel like the quote-unquote classroom is intense. Whatever reality they're in, it's intense. Like they're trapped inside a vial and the vial has a fire under it. You know what I mean? And Spirit's not letting anything or anyone interfere with that process. They're inside the universe's bottle with a fire under them. They're being cooked. Right? They're being put through the process. And it's a very intense one. How much time it takes, though, that's a different story. I think this person, at the very least, if they didn't respect the fact that you gave them a place where they belonged before and they didn't value it, they do value what you were providing for them before, that they were blind to or ignorant to or disrespectful of before. The feeling of home, the feeling of belonging. That they understand now. Especially because they're probably in an environment that no matter how much they try to belong, they don't. They feel out of place or powerless in it. And it's probably a divine mirror because that's probably how you felt when you were with them. Feeling like you were powerless and out of place. And no matter how much you tried to belong in said person's life, they never gave you a place or that feeling of belonging. They never made you feel like you were included, truly. And they're dealing with that. What's the best course of action? Wheel of Fortune, Queen of Cups, Queen of Wands, King of Wands, Queen of Swords. There might be a lot of people involved. Knight of Pentacles is on the bottom. Seven of Pentacles on top. I feel like best course of action for you. We have literally all four queens out. Queen of Cups, Queen of Wands, Queen of Coins, and the Queen of Swords. I think you have figured out what you deserve to receive. I think you have the vision of what you deserve. I think you are emotionally connected to and intuitively connected to how to draw it in. I think that you are sharp-minded and willing to cut off what is not in alignment with it, which is why it's manifesting for you. I think you've mastered the ability to envision and ground certain things in. I think the other person is learning how to do that. Learning how to change their life, change fortune by listening to their intuition, listening to their feelings and what does or doesn't feel good, thinking about what they really do desire to manifest, allowing themselves to hold that vision and cut off whatever is not in alignment with them. Cold and cutting, right? No second thoughts about it, sending people on their way. I do feel like this person and I'm going to say it before I wrap it up, this whole live. I feel like they don't have the balls to reach out to you right now. They want to. I feel like they don't have the courage. There's some kind of cowardice there, some type of fear there, some unworthiness wound there, that they don't feel like they could make it up to you with all that has transpired since y'all parted ways. Especially if more shit and obligations piled on their life. Because like I said, there's a lot of people there. But it's almost like they're looking for another you in someone else. Like they're trying to find you again in someone else. The problem is you're one of a kind. You're one of a kind. And they may have had someone else similar to you in their life before, but maybe they weren't romantically involved with them, but they made them feel like they belonged somewhere, that they mattered. Like they're hoping for that trifecta, right? The three of a kind. Maybe I'll find a third one, right? I had someone kind of similar to them, and then I had this amazing person. Maybe I'll find a third one. But the Seven of Pentacles falls short. The Knight of Pentacles is stagnant and doesn't really move. Right? It's the only night where the horse is standing still and not moving. I think if they're searching for that three of a kind, I don't think they're going to find it. And I think that if they don't reach out to reconcile and give you what you deserve, I think what they fear is in fact going to appear. I think you're going to find somebody that makes you feel like you belong in their life. They give you a place to belong, warmed and welcomed, right? And I think this person would continue in that self-inflicted self-flagellation. And the more you succeed, I think the more this person's going to end up hurting. There's definitely an interesting soul bond between the two of you. If they're not watching you from a distance, they're psychologically or even in dream state, like connected to you in some way. They might have some kind of intuitive or clair sense that they don't even realize is accurate when it comes to you. But I think it drives them crazy. I don't know why it's important for you to know that, but Spirit brought it out. It makes sense. People are following your lead. You've shed your old self. You're doing what you need to do to get things done every day, right? Being grateful, fetching water, chopping wood. You're succeeding. It's seen. You're manifesting things. And someone doesn't know what to do with themselves because they fucking lost you. Like they blew it. They didn't realize how bad they blew it. And the more time that goes by, the more they realize just how much they fucking blew it. They did not realize who you were when you were in front of them and what you were actually offering to them. You offered them belonging. And that's priceless. At the very least, I hope them seeing your value in hindsight, even if you would never take this person back into your life, even if you would never, you know, reconcile or talk to this person or whatever, at the very least, they recognize the value of what you were giving them then. Now, your value did not remain unseen or unvalued. And I think that that is important for you to know, that your worth and your value was always there. And not having it, being blind at the time and not having it now, is literally driving someone insane. And they would do just about anything to have it back. Although, to be completely honest, they're fucking terrified. They're fucking terrified of the rejection. If they were to ever reach out to you, I think they would do just about anything to have it back. Just about anything. They hope to God you would reach out to them, because they would be terrified to reach out to you and actually have you shut that door. Because then they can't even fantasize about having it back. They know they can't, and that's totally different. They would rather fantasize about having it back and long for it and punish themselves, right? Self-inflicted punishment, than actually realize it's gone, because I don't think they could handle it. Which is why I think it's terrifying to them that you would actually be with somebody else who makes you feel like you belong and have a place in their life, because they know that you would never leave it. They know the value of it. They know the value of feeling like you belong. And if someone gave you that feeling, they know you would never go back to them, never. It would be no different than you rejecting them. I don't think this person would be able to handle it. I think Spirit, the universe, is giving them plenty of time to step up and be that person who makes you feel like you have a place in their life and you belong, to reciprocate that feeling with you. But I feel like it's just a matter of time, right? This whole Saturn, Venus opposition with Jupiter and Mars going on with this full moon, I think it's only a matter of time. Before they are kind of stuck dealing with themselves. So I'm going to wrap this up here, guys. Those are all the secret code names. I will have some timestamps in just a bit, so you guys can hop, skip, and jump around. I have faith that if you caught these messages, that they opened up your eyes to something to make sense in some way. And to all of my members, I will see you in just a little bit for full moon intention candles. And I love you guys. I'll see you next time. Take care.